Part 23. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lou Kixie. Chapter 221. Chapter 221. She cares about Yezikin very much. Go and get it back yourself if you can. Guyiyi was so angry that she threw the earrings into the pool. Plop. Hearing only the sound of falling into the water, Ye Wei jumped into the pool without hesitation. Guyiyi, Ye Wei shouted her name fiercely. He patted the water with his arms and started looking for earrings. The pool is very shallow and can only be submerged up to the waist. The scene of Ye Wei searching for earrings in the pool shocked Lu Biang and Su Yuchen, who were present. Lu Biang, who was holding the ball, was at a loss. No, what's going on? Guyiyi, did you throw something belonging to squad leader Chiao? Lu Biang looked left and right, and Su Yuchen next to him suddenly jumped into the pool. Su Yuchen grabbed Ye Wei's arm. This water is not clean. Do you want a bacterial infection? Ye Wei struggled hard and didn't listen to the advice at all. Let me go, I'm looking for my earrings. Su Yuchen was annoyed by her stubbornness. It's just an earring. If you lose it, you can buy it again. You can't find it in the pool. You don't understand at all. They don't understand at all. I don't understand how much she values earrings. That was the first earring Yezikin gave her. How could she just throw it away? What Yezikin gave her was everything she valued. Su Yuchen forcibly lifted Ye Wei up and asked Lu Biang to pull him up. Lu Biang, help. Oh, Lu Biang threw the basketball in his hand and went to grab him. Ye only lost his weak look and broke free from the hands of the two boys as if he had become a different person. Whoever dares to stop me is going against me, Chiao Li. She put down her harsh words and continued to search in the water. She took off her shoes and stepped on the slightly sandy bottom of the water, trying to feel the presence of the earrings. Something was thrown into the water and her toes were scratched. Ye Wei didn't dare to look, but she thought maybe there was blood. Su Yuchen saw Ye Wei's sudden and ugly expression, and knew that he couldn't persuade her, so he started to help her search together. Seeing the crazy looks of the two of them, Guyiyi, the instigator, started to panic. She wanted to escape, but was caught by Lu Biang. Lu Biang threatened her, Guyiyi, don't leave. This matter has not been resolved. If you leave, you will be dead. Guyiyi swallowed deeply. She told herself that she could not leave. If she left now, she would not even have a chance to plead for mercy. Hongtian paid off, and when Ye Wei's soul was pricked for the second time, she finally found the earring. She twisted the small earrings with her fingers, and a beautiful and pure smile suddenly appeared on her face. He. Even if you are soaked all over, even if you are injured and bleeding, as long as you can find the earrings. As long as she can get back what her brother gave her, nothing matters. Looking at Ye Wei standing in the water in a daze, Su Yuchen lifted her up and said, if you find it, get up quickly. Lu Biang held hands on the shore and pulled the two of them ashore. Ye Wei turned to Su Yuchen and said, thank you. Guyiyi ran over and apologized, Chiao Li, I didn't mean it. Su Yuchen looked at Ye Wei, who was soaked all over, and separated the two of them rationally. Don't argue for now, go back and change clothes. Ye Wei stepped forward and stretched out his hand to Guyiyi, give me the box. Here you go, give it back to you. This time Guyiyi did not dare to hesitate at all before handing over the earring box. Ye Wei carefully put the earrings in and thanked Su Yuchen and Lu Biang again. Just when Ye Wei was putting on his shoes, Lu Biang was suddenly startled, squad leader, your feet are bleeding. Su Yuchen turned around and picked him up without any explanation. About the second question, name any 3 characters' actions or language that often appear in the text, excluding the characters' names. By the way, there is no doubt about Xiao Lingdang's love for Brother Chen. I am so touched that I want to fall in love. Brother Chen knows that he should not be heartbroken to death. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 222. Chapter 222 It's okay to bleed. Wow, Brother Su and the squad leader. Lu Biang was shocked when he saw Su Yuchen picking up Ye Wei and running to the infirmary without hesitation. Ye Wei reacted after being surprised and slapped Su Yuchen's arm, "Put me down." But Su Yuchen always did things based on his heart. No matter what Ye Wei said, he still carried Ye Wei into the infirmary. "Doctor, her foot is injured." The doctor was also shocked when he saw the wet and embarrassed appearance of the two people. The doctor frowned and asked, "What is going on?" Ye Wei looked down at the bleeding wound on his foot and explained in an evasive manner, "I fell into the school pool." "Oops, the pool in the school is very dirty. Clean it quickly and change clothes to avoid infection. If your body is contaminated with bacteria, your wounds will easily become infected even if you treat them now." Ye Wei called Yuan Ran and asked her to help deliver some clothes, while he took disinfectant soap and reluctantly cleaned it. After changing into clean clothes, the doctor disinfected her wound and applied medicine and bandage after the blood coagulated. "The wound is not big, but be careful to avoid infection." "Thanks." Ye Wei looked around and didn't see Su Yuchen. She seemed to have glanced at her when she came out after changing her clothes, but now she didn't see anyone. I sighed softly in my heart, I'd better prepare a gift to say thank you. Ye Wei never likes to owe favors to people, unless they are people with whom she has a very good relationship. Last time she accompanied Yuan Ran to the infirmary, but this time the roles were reversed. Yuan Ran pointed to her feet and asked, "How did you get yourself into this situation?" With a frown, Ye Wei explained calmly, "Gu Yi took my earrings and threw them into the pool. I scratched my instep when I went to pick them up." Are those earrings really that important?" "And Ran, you don't understand. Some things are meaningless to others, but to me, they are top priority." Yuan Ran didn't understand the determination and depth in Ye Wei's eyes, but she knew that she couldn't refute the sentence. "Gu Yi targets you like this, aren't you going to tell the teacher?" "No need." Ye Wei shook his head lightly. "Yuan Ran has a cold and aloof temper. She never likes to interfere in matters decided by others." "Just sigh, you have such a good temper." Ye Wei looked down at the injury on his foot, the corners of his lips slightly curved. "Is she good-tempered?" She didn't say that she wanted to let Gu Yi go. No matter how Gu Yi usually goes against her, she can be tolerant, but the premise is, don't touch her bottom line. While the two of them were silent, another group of people broke into the infirmary and started chattering. Hey, Uncle Doctor, come and see my brother." The doctor was so angry that he jumped up and down. "I'm talking about you little brats. Why are you fighting again? You want to break off the leg before the broken arm is healed. What nonsense are you talking about? Our brother Bei is awesome and unscathed." It can be heard that this group of gangster-like students are already familiar with the doctors in the infirmary. The leading boy has neat short hair, wears black skull short sleeves, and wears a black wax rope skull necklace around his neck. This man exudes an unruly aura. That's what they call beige bee. Last time he lost his hand, but this time he was full of energy. While the doctor was cleaning his brother's wound, B suddenly changed his target and walked toward Ye Wei and Yuan Ran. A wanton smile spread across his handsome face. "Thanks to Park Chan-yal, let's learn about it, little cookie, Hong Ling for the tip. Let's take a bet, who does Kitano value?" End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 223. Chapter 223 Ye Wei counterattacks Gu Yi. Bei obviously came for Ye Wei and Yuan Ran. Ye Wei never wants to come into contact with these people, and Yuan Ran is also resistant to boys. Unexpectedly, Bei Ye put his hand on the bedside where Ye Wei was sitting. The two girls frowned at the same time, but Bei suddenly turned his head and smiled mischievously at Yuan Ran. Little Beauty and Ran, why did you enter the infirmary again? The amount of information is even greater. Yuan Ran didn't listen and asked Ye Wei softly, do you feel better now? Do you want to go back to the dormitory to rest? Ye glanced at the two of them with his only gaze, and nodded inexplicably, you can go. As soon as she said this, Bei straightened his back and took 2 steps back to make way for them. Yuan Ran supported Ye Wei, and the two of them walked out of the infirmary cautiously. And Ran, do you know them? I don't know, Yuan Ran denied it. Ye Wei wanted to refute Yuan Ran's words, but didn't say it. Everyone has secrets that they don't want to mention, and sometimes they can't get to the bottom of it. Let's go back to the dormitory to rest. Ye Wei didn't ask any questions. Yuan Ran helped her walk, but she couldn't help but think of some scenes on the way. On the first day of school, she accidentally ran into Kitano and his group fighting with people outside the school. She was involved, but Kitano forcefully protected her from leaving. But forget it, you shouldn't worry about this kind of thing. As Yuan Ran, she should not have anything to do with such a person who lives a chaotic life. Squad leader Jiao Li was injured, and all her problems naturally fell on the head of deputy squad leader Gu Yiyi. I don't know who broke the news. Many people in the grade were spreading the news that Gu Yiyi stole something from others. They didn't know exactly what Gu Yiyi had stolen. The three of them turned into tigers and turned into Gu Yiyi stealing money. At that time, some people began to pay attention to Gu Yiyi's food and clothing expenses. Hey, I heard from people in her dormitory that Gu Yiyi wants to save face and looks glamorous, but in fact they are all inferiors. I've also heard that she is stingy in the dormitory. She puts everything in the cabinet and locks it, hiding it tightly, and she won't let anyone borrow it. Gu Yiyi would hear some gossip when she came out of the office and passed through the corridor. Gu Yiyi lowered her head and walked faster. Without looking at the road, she bumped into someone coming from the opposite direction. Ah, hiss. Someone fell down. Gu Yiyi glanced at it without intending to take care of it, but her classmates in the corridor stopped her. Gu Yiyi, you knocked someone down and you didn't even look at him. I saw Ye Wei standing up with the help of others, but he was pressing the injured foot with a painful expression. Gu Yiyi stood tall and asked reluctantly, hey, are you okay? Ye Wei lowered his head and pressed his feet, I just touched a wound. Just rest for a while. You should go and hand out the homework to the classmates first. You said that yourself, just be fine. Seeing her weak look, Gu Yiyi didn't bother to pay attention to her. You can watch the classmates who are dissatisfied. If you don't apologize proactively when you bump into someone, it's not sincere. If you're forced to apologize, some people are really bad. Yes, Jiao Li, are you seriously injured? Do you want to go to the infirmary? Those ugly words almost made Gu Yiyi angry to death. She held back her anger and went to support Ye Wei, but a small voice came from her ears. Are you angry so quickly? Gu Yiyi tilted her head and felt weird when she saw Ye Wei smile towards her. This is just the beginning. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 224. Chapter 224. Ye Wei has a high fever in the middle of the night. Gu Yiyi was not familiar with class affairs before, but now the teacher left it to her to handle, and she was completely confused. Gu Yiyi found Ye Wei in the dormitory and said politely, Jiao Li, please tell me about these procedures. I'm sorry, I have a headache and I don't want to talk now. Putting his hand on his forehead, Ye Wei leaned against the bed, obviously not wanting to talk to Gu Yiyi. You did it on purpose, right? Who would ask you this question? Gu Yiyi was in high spirits and couldn't bear the indifference of others, so she left angrily. Ye Wei put down his hand, stood up from the bed, stared in the direction Gu Yi left, and raised the corners of his lips. A sneeze. Her nose was slightly itchy, so she took out the cold medicine and took it as required. The day before yesterday, she jumped into the pool to pick up earrings. Not only did she hurt her feet, but she also caught a cold. Although it was not serious, it made her feel uncomfortable. I just sneezed during the day, and start coughing at night. Ahem, I poured myself a glass of warm water to moisten my throat. Cold medicine didn't help either. Perhaps he had been coughing for too long, and even Shen Nianan poked his head out of the sea of books and asked, "Xiao Li, are you okay?" "I have a bit of a cold. I didn't feel it on the first day after falling into the water, but now it's coming on strongly, and my nasal voice is buzzing clearly. Would you like to go out and have a look? It's already 9 o'clock, and the infirmary is closed." It's troublesome to ask for leave after leaving school. Ye Wei shook his head and took out the medicine bottle again. "I'll take some more cold medicine and go to bed." Shen Nianan was not that mother-in-law. He was the only one who could think clearly in the night, so he gave a few instructions and continued reading. It happened that Yezikin called just when Ye Wei was about to take medicine and go to bed early. Ahem. Ye Wei touched his throat, but he didn't dare to pick it up. "If you answer this call, you will be exposed as soon as you open your mouth. If you don't answer, it will be very troublesome if you don't answer." He hesitated for a moment and then accepted it. However, as soon as the connection was connected, what fell into Yezikin's ears was a cough, cough. "I got sick. I have a little cold, but it's okay, I've already taken medicine." Ye Wei explained to Yezikin that he had a hard time holding it in. When he couldn't help but cough, he covered his mouth tightly to make the sound much quieter. When Yezikin learned that she was sick, he did not dare to drag her to chat. He told her to take medicine and rest well. Ye Wei started going to bed at 9:30 today. "I don't know how long I slept, but I felt hot all over my body. The whole person became unconscious, and I could only vaguely hear the conversation between my roommates. Her forehead is so hot. I have a fever. What should I do? It's already 12 o'clock, should I tell the teacher? Call the teacher quickly." Even if the head teacher knew about it, he wouldn't be able to show up immediately. He only told Shen Nianan and the others not to panic and go find the dormitory and now. If a student becomes seriously ill at school, the class teacher will naturally notify her parents. Yes, only parent contact person registered on the roster is Yezikin. As her roommates circled around the feverish night, her hands vibrated. It's Xiao Li's cell phone. Someone called her. Who is calling in the middle of the night? Is it a harassing call? There is a note, it should be someone you know. The note displayed on the screen of the mobile phone is Yezikin. Ye Wei usually didn't mention his parents in the dormitory. They vaguely knew that Ye Wei's parents had died and he lived with his aunt, but they didn't know who Yezikin was. Shen Nianan suddenly became brave and said, "I'll pick him up." "Hello. Hello, I'm Xiao Li's roommate. It's not convenient for her to answer the phone right now. I am her brother. If you can, take her downstairs now." Question 3. Name the various names that Yezikin calls Ye Wei in the article. Whoever answers the most will be ranked first. If the number of answers is the same, it depends on the time. 2 lucky readers will also be selected, for example, Ye Wei, Xiaoling Dang, etc. Key points. For details, see the spring activity post pinned to the top of the book review area. Q&A with prizes. The first reader to answer correctly will be rewarded with 200 book coins, and 1 reader will be drawn from all subsequent readers with correct answers to be awarded 100 book coins. Answers need to be posted again in the book review area, otherwise they will be invalid. Can you choose physical gifts, bracelets, dream catchers, soft girl cups, dolls, by mail on the 520th floor of the tipping building? End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 225. Chapter 225. He is back. Foot injury infected, high fever persists. Shen Nianan stared blankly at the phone and conveyed, the caller said it was Qiao Liao's brother and asked us to take her downstairs now. We have to go down anyway, let's wake her up quickly. Shen Nianan and others forcibly woke up Ye Weiwei. Ye Weiwei, who was dazed by the fever, opened and closed his eyes, feeling uncomfortable all over. I'm so hot, I want to sleep. Qiao Li, you have a fever, get up quickly. I have a headache, so I can't walk. She just felt exhausted, her head hurt, and she didn't have the strength to get up at all. But your brother called, and the teacher also said that we should take you downstairs. You have a fever. Brother, brother, she opened her mouth with difficulty and forced herself to open her eyes. Seeing her reaction, her roommate helped her downstairs. The dormitory aunt has been woken up and is standing at the dormitory door waiting for them to come down. Shen Nianan and others supported Ye Weiwei when they saw a tall figure at the last staircase. Is it that person? What if it's not the case? The roommates hesitated at the door until the slender figure hidden in the darkness kept approaching and gradually became clear. He walked step by step, and his handsome and extraordinary appearance was the first intuitive impression that several people had on him. Thanks. He said an inexplicable thank you, and his deep magnetic voice almost captured them. Fortunately, Shen Nianan was very vigilant and refused to let him go directly. He looked at him questioningly. Are you Qiao Lian's brother? I am. Shen Nianan thought that the two brothers and sisters had different names, so it shouldn't be wrong, but she still shook Qiao Ling awake and said, Qiao Ling, look quickly to see if this is your brother. Ye Weiwei, who was unconscious, opened her eyes. The images in her mind gathered in front of her eyes. She opened Shen Nianan's eyes and stumbled into Yezikin's arms. Brother. At that moment, she held on tightly. By chance, the teacher also called to inquire about the situation, and Shen Nianan and the others also happened to check Yezikin's identity. Yezikin didn't say anything. After expressing his gratitude, he picked up Ye Weiwei and left quickly. The roommate sighed, I didn't expect Qiao Lian's brother to be so handsome. Yes, and he came faster than the teacher. Looking at his anxious look, you can tell that he is worried about Qiao Lian. I hope Qiao Lian is okay. The roommates exchanged words with each other, and were finally driven back to the dormitory by the dormitory aunt. Yezikin made a big fuss at Guchenxi's private residence in the middle of the night. Guchenxi's private residence is comparable to a small clinic, and has more advanced equipment than the clinic. Just when Guchenxi saw Yezikin, he almost thought he had seen a ghost. Why are you back? Don't talk nonsense, let her take a look first, she has a serious fever. You have a cold and a fever that makes you feel like you're going to die. Guchenxi was dissatisfied with being woken up in the middle of the night. But when he touched Ye Yuyi's forehead, the scorching temperature calmed him down. Guchenxi said with a serious look, carry her into my consulting room. While examining her, Guchenxi found an injury on Ye Wei's foot. What's wrong with this foot? I don't know yet. Yezikin frowned, unable to answer Guchenxi for a moment. He couldn't help but rush back after hearing Ye Weiwei's cough. He didn't know that she had been hurt so much at school. Guchenxi's expression was solemn. She probably caught a cold due to coldness in her body, and the wound on her foot was infected with bacteria and inflamed, which aggravated the fever. It's a bit dangerous if her fever doesn't go down tonight. Thanks to Moranzio for the reward. Question 3, name the various names that Yezikin calls Ye Weiwei in the article. Whoever answers the most will be ranked first. If the number of answers is the same, it depends on the time. 2 lucky readers will also be selected, for example, Ye Weiwei, Xiaoling Dang, etc. Please leave a separate post in the book review area and rush to answer. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 226. Chapter 226. Don't move. The only thing that night was that I had a high fever and was sweating all over. Guchensi said, I will find a servant to come over and wipe her body now. Yezikin refused without hesitation, no, please ask someone to prepare a set of clothes. Do you want to do it yourself? Guchensi smiled in surprise. Yezikin kicked the person out of the room directly. Tisk, tisk. Guchensi stood at the door, took off his gloves, and sked twice meaningfully, cross the river and burn the bridge. Guchensi's only treatment for Ye is temporarily over, and all he can do now is wait. In line with Yezikin's thoughts, within the scope of what he can handle, he does not trust Ye to be handed over to anyone else. Yezikin stayed up all night by Ye's side, wiping her sweat and changing clothes instead of measuring her temperature. Ye's high fever lasted all night, and finally cooled down a bit in the early morning. Guchensi checked Ye early in the morning, the high fever is gone. Let's prepare some food for her. She should wake up soon. Yezikin's eyebrows finally relaxed, I'm here to guard her. So what? Let me borrow your chef. Meaning, borrow the Gu family's chef to make the only breakfast that can be eaten at night. Guzikin said in a cold voice, settling the accounts. Yezikin glanced at him expressionlessly, when she wakes up, the treatment cost will be paid in a penny. You can do it, Guchensi gave him a thumbs up. Facing such an upright man, there was nothing to worry about. No one has trouble with money. The only moment when I was conscious at night, the deepest feeling was, a cold feeling on my feet. She subconsciously shrank her legs, but it seemed like she was being pulled by someone, unable to move. Ye sat up from the bed with a start, and the blurry figures in front of him gradually became clearer. I'm not dreaming, am I? She didn't even care about the feeling on her legs. She looked at the man sitting at her feet in surprise. I asked but got no response. Yahweh reached out to touch the location of his foot injury, and his restless little hand was instantly caught by another big palm. Yezikin shouted in a low voice, don't touch it. I just applied medicine to the wound, and the medicine was contaminated after touching it twice. It was this voice that alerted Ye, is it really my brother? Well, it's not false. Yezikin's joke-like affirmation made Ye laugh happily and reach out to hug her, but was blocked by Yezikin's hand again. Don't move around, just apply the medicine, Yezikin warned again. Ye took a deep breath to hold back the impulse in his heart, looked around at the unfamiliar surroundings, and asked curiously, why are you here? Where am I? This is Guchensi's home. Did you know that you had a high fever last night? I have a fever, she touched her forehead reflexively. At this moment, she no longer felt the fever, but in her memory. It seems like I feel a little dizzy. So Brother Chen came back in time last night. In fact, when he heard her coughing, he felt uneasy and took the fastest flight back. When he received the call from the head teacher, he had just arrived at the airport. You must be very tired when you come back in the middle of the night, but there is no need to rush back. I will make my own decision as to whether I will come back or not. Ye noticed that Yezikin was a little angry, and was about to say something else, but saw Yezikin's cold face. It's you, your foot injury is infected and your fever doesn't go away. I didn't know about it at all, so you did a good job of hiding it. Yui. At first glance, she was the one who wanted to accuse her. She was dead. Thanks to destroy the stars and Tiankai, I can't help but reward. I don't know whether Xiao Lingdang is dead or Gu Yi is dead. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 227. Chapter 227. It hurts more than bleeding. Yezikin didn't need to cross-examine too much. She just stared at Yewei expressionlessly, and she had to explain herself. Someone at school went against me and threw the earrings you gave me into the pool. When I went down to pick them up, I accidentally scratched my foot, but it wasn't serious at all, really. Then, maybe I didn't change clothes in time, which caused me to catch a cold and fever, but it really started yesterday, and I took cold medicine, really. Each time a crime is confessed, it must be emphasized, but there is no possibility of redemption. Yezikin caught her injured this time. She was really. At the moment, my mood is too complicated to be strict. It seems that you really didn't take anything I said to you to heart. Listening to Yezikin's lesson, Yewei lowered his head. I have asked you for 2 days of leave these 2 days. The word asking for leave is simply great news for a miserable high school student. Yewei is looking forward to Yezikin saying something like you should have a good rest these 2 days. However, things went counterproductive. I heard Yezikin calmly give an order, in these 2 days, write a 10,000-word review. 10,000 words, eyes blinking rapidly, lips pursed into a line. Yewei pouted and said, how can you write so many words in a review? Simple, if you write a review of 1,000 words, copy the 1,000 words 10 times. Yewei's expression froze, his eyes full of hope. Brother, your hand will be very painful. It hurts more than bleeding. Yewei immediately put away his troubled expression and answered quickly with the correct attitude, I promise it will be completed within 2 days. Just kidding. Based on her understanding of Yezikin, if she had one more sentence to defend herself, the number of words would definitely double. The squad leader asked for leave because of a cold and fever, and rumors spread in the class. The squad leader has been so pitiful recently. First he injured his foot, and then he had a high fever in the middle of the night. Alas. I heard that the squad leader fell into the pool that day, and it seemed that Gu Yi was right next to him. The two of them have always been at odds. Maybe it was Gu Yi who pushed him in. At that time, not many people saw the real process, but as long as one person started spreading the news, others would make up a lot of ideas. Gu Yi's reputation was in disrepute. She did not handle the matters assigned by the teacher well, and her relationship with her classmates was also strained. She was not having an easy life now. Su Yuchen and Lu Biang, who knew the truth that day, kept silent about the incident. Boys' dormitory. Su Yuchen took the initiative to find Lu Biang and said, help me. What's going on? Call Qiaolian and ask her what's going on. Did I hear you right? You asked me to call Monitor Qiao. You care about her, then you can call her yourself. Su Yuchen frowned and said, it's inconvenient. What's the inconvenience, brother Su? You like Qiaolian, right? Lu Biang loves to watch the excitement. Inconvenience is inconvenience, don't talk about what you have or don't have. Su Yuchen never acknowledged his special treatment of Yewei. Lu Biang called him boring, but he still called Yewei in good conscience. Squad leader Qiao, I heard that you are sick. How is your situation? Lu Biang deliberately turned on the speakerphone. The only voice in the night came clearly from the mobile phone, thank you, I'm feeling much better. Squad leader Qiao, where is your home? Some of our classmates are worried about you and want to see you, Lu Biang said loudly on purpose. Lu Biang was still waiting for Yewei's response, but a man's voice came from the phone. What are you talking about? Have you finished writing the review? The lucky ones in the third question, like will get 200 book coins, and South Wind Blows Gently will get 100 book coins. Please contact Zio to claim the reward. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 228. Chapter 228, whatever you want, I will grab it. Brother Su, I was hung up on by the monitor. I also heard a man's voice from Monitor Chiao, and it was definitely the kind of male voice that girls think of. Lu Biang spread his mobile phone in the palm of his hand. He even wondered if Su Yuchen was falling out of love. It must be her brother, Su Yuchen said calmly. Lu Biang nodded. I also heard her brother asking if the self-criticism has been written. Why did the monitor write a self-criticism? The monitor took a leave of absence and was still writing a self-criticism. Su Yuchen glanced at Lu Biang with a speechless expression. How do I know? Lu Biang pretended to sigh deeply. He admired Su Yuchen's calmness, but in fact, the book in Su Yuchen's hand had not turned its pages for a long time. Lu Biang said that all the signs he has now show that he likes that girl. He himself doesn't know. 2 days later, Ye Weiwei returned to school safely. Most of the students expressed concern for the monitor, except Gu Yiyi. Ye Weiwei and Gu Yiyi are now incompatible with each other. They look at each other, and Gu Yiyi already feels a little timid. Ye Weiwei covered everything with a light smile. Ye Zikan found out the cause of the injury the same day she knew she was injured, but she was determined not to interfere. She will let Gu Yiyi know what the price of doing the wrong thing means. During class, the class teacher stood on the stage and announced, the school will hold a class chorus competition in the near future. The requirement is that the whole school must sing a song to participate in the chorus. The class leader and the entertainment committee should pay attention to this matter and talk to the music teacher. Lu Biang suddenly raised his hand. Teacher, I have a question. You say. Lu Biang stood up and asked without hesitation, Teacher, which squad leader are you talking about taking charge? Now that squad leader Chiao is injured, the deputy squad leader's efficiency in doing things, really makes us worry. Ha ha ha, the whole class burst into laughter. Gu Yiyi stood up and said, Teacher, I can handle this matter. Then it's up to you. At this moment, Ye Weiwei raised his hand and said, Teacher, Gu Yiyi and I are both class monitors. We should both strive for collective honor for the class. I don't think there is any need to divide the work. It is better for everyone to pool their ideas. Okay, Lu Biang took the lead in applauding and supported Ye Weiwei unconditionally. Our squad leader Chiao said it best to brainstorm ideas. Everyone agreed. The head teacher followed this and asked the two class leaders to discuss the matter with Wen Yiyi. Even so, Gu Yiyi still felt like she had been slapped in the face in public. Gu Yiyi settled this debt with Ye Weiwei, thinking that Ye Weiwei deliberately made her look embarrassed. After discussion, they selected a song called Young Battlefield to inspire adolescent students. The whole class raised their hands to vote to express approval. The music teacher also nodded in agreement. Now that the songs have been selected, we should select a conductor and cantor. Those experienced students in the class can come to me in the office after class. As a conductor, the entertainment committee member is very experienced, and no one in the class can compete with her. As for the lead singer, Gu Yiyi once again recommended herself and seemed to be praised by the music teacher. During class, I heard the two people who played well with Gu Yiyi praising her. Yiyi, you are so amazing. You are among the top 3 in academic performance, and you even have such a good singing voice. Ye Weiwei, who had no special plans at first, took out the music score from the drawer. Gu Yiyi, if leading singing is what you are pursuing, then I can't let you do what you want. Question 4, answer what is clearly stated in the article. Ye Zikan's first gift was the little bell. Key points. For details, see the spring activity post pinned to the top of the book review area. Q&A with prizes. The first reader to answer correctly will be rewarded with 200 book coins, and one reader will be drawn from all subsequent readers with correct answers to be awarded 100 book coins. Answers need to be posted again in the book review area, otherwise they will be invalid. Can you choose physical gifts, bracelets, dream catchers, soft girl cups, dolls, by mail on the 520th floor of the Tipping Building? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Luke Hixie. Chapter 229. Chapter 229 You are just a thief. In the second music class, the music teacher walked into the classroom and started to praise. The people in your class are all good, especially the monitor of your class who played a very good leading role and took the initiative to be elected as the lead singer. Gu Yiyi once made a high-profile statement to the class that the music teacher had praised her, so when the teacher talked about the monitor, everyone subconsciously looked at Gu Yiyi. Gu Yiyi straightened her back when she received everyone's attention, and the smile on her face couldn't help but bloom. But the music teacher's next words completely pushed Gu Yiyi from the edge of the cliff to the abyss. After discussions between me and other music teachers, it was finally determined that the lead singer of your class is, classmate Jiao Li. The music teacher pointed to the only spot in the night with a smile on his face. The wind direction suddenly changed, and the students turned around one after another. Su Yuchen took the lead in applauding, causing the whole class to applaud one after another, which lasted for a long time. Ye Wei stood up and nodded to the teacher on the podium to thank him. He turned to face the class and expressed his confidence in leading the class to win the award. Gu Yiyi's expression is quite good-looking. She stared at Ye Wei with her eyes wide open, her fingers almost drawing blood. Since Ye Wei fell into the water, everything has gone wrong for her, and everything has something to do with Ye Wei. From then on, she should have known that Ye Wei, who was pretending to be a pig and eating a tiger, was not at all the timid and innocent little girl who only knew how to cry as rumored in the Xinjiao Academy. Ye Wei, who left Xinjiao Academy and became Jiao Lian, is simply a devil. After class, Gu Yiyi called Ye Wei to the corridor on the grounds of class affairs. When only the two of them were getting along, Gu Yiyi's face suddenly changed and she asked sternly, Jiao Li, it's all your fault. Are you deliberately trying to embarrass me? Ye Wei looked at her with a smile, classmate Gu Yiyi, what are you talking about? Why can't I understand? Don't be pretentious. You deliberately pretend to be pitiful in front of others to make them sympathize with you and reject me. You deliberately went to the music teacher to run for lead singer and took away my opportunity. Ye Wei chuckled, but his tone was still calm. Gu Yiyi, if you don't have the ability, don't put the responsibility on others, okay? Stop pretending to me. You are clearly trying to take revenge on me for what happened that day. Gu Yiyi cursed in a low voice and got angrily. I don't know what shameful means were used to what I deserve, but Jiaoling, let me tell you, I, Gu Yiyi, will not let you get what you want. I will let everyone know that I, Gu Yiyi, am the best. Yes, only superficial smile finally faded away, and her eyes were as deep as a pool. She leaned close to Gu Yiyi's ear and spoke in a harsh voice, Gu Yiyi, what qualifications do you have to compare with me? You are just a despicable villain and a shameless thief who ruined people's hard work. While Gu Yiyi was stunned, Ye Wei looked up and saw a slender figure standing on the stairs. It's Su Yuchen. Ye Wei put away his unnecessary expression and patted Gu Yiyi on the shoulder. If you really want to be the lead singer, I can also apply to the teacher. I hope we won't break the relationship. Ye Wei's voice instantly changed back to sweetness and softness. Gu Yiyi dismissed it, I don't care. I'm really sorry. I just wanted to fight for it. I didn't expect you to be so angry. Stop pretending. Gu Yiyi waved Ye Wei away with all her strength. Yes, only hand was pressed against the wall. Su Yuchen, who was standing on the stairs, quickly ran down. Question 4, Yezikin gave Ye Yiyi his first gift. Someone answered the bell. I can tell you on Chinese Valentine's Day that the bell was given by Ye Wei's father, the writing is very clear. Please answer again. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Luke Hixie. Chapter 230. Chapter 230 Her Dual Personality. Are you okay? Suyuchin grabbed Ye Weiwei's hand, with unconcealed concern in his tone. Gu Yiyi looked at the scene and felt angry in her heart. I'm fine. Ye Weiwei shook his head and broke free from Suyuchin's hand without leaving a trace. She wanted to ruin Gu Yiyi's image, but she didn't think about asking any boy to care about her. Suyuchin turned his head, his sharp gaze fell on Gu Yiyi, and warned sternly, Gu Yiyi, no one cares about you usually pretending to be pretentious, but don't forget that you caused Xiao Ling to be like this. Next time, you will be guilty. Be exposed. Gu Yiyi's face turned pale in an instant. Suyuchin and Lu Biang were the ones who witnessed her throwing the earrings into the pool. Gu Yiyi had no way to defend herself, so she left the two of them and ran back to the classroom. Ye Weiwei also walked slowly while holding onto the wall. Although the wound on the foot has become scarred, when the pain-sensing nerves are sensitive, you will unconsciously walk with your foot at the slightest pain. Suyuchin thought she had been injured by Gu Yiyi's push, and wanted to help her, but unexpectedly, Ye Weiwei reacted quickly and avoided it. Thank you, but this is a matter between me and Gu Yiyi. I will handle it myself. The hand raised in the air was awkwardly retracted, and Suyuchin suddenly mentioned, I have already read the book you gave me last time. Ye Weiwei lowered his eyes and thought for a moment, remembering that he gave Suyuchin a book last time in order to thank him. What book is it from? I heard that Suyuchin was very good at mathematics, so she gave him a book of mathematical Olympiad questions. This way, I didn't send the wrong thank you gift, and I feel at ease. From beginning to end, Ye Weiwei acted very distant. Gu Chenxi was sitting lazily on the gray-black sofa in Nordic style. In front of you is a video projection. The ins and outs of the matter have been found out. Gu Yiyi stole your little girl's earrings out of jealousy and threw them into the pool. The girl desperately found them back. Tisk, your courage is commendable. Gu Chenxi faded away. The cold noodle seemed like a joke. This time, Yezikin had a cold face, his face was gloomy and stern. Don't talk nonsense, I want to listen to the key points. Gu Chenxi raised his hand and made an OK gesture. Dr. Huo's expression was solemn, we are also paying close attention to recent events. Gu Yiyi originally had a good image in the eyes of her classmates. Ever since Miss Xiao fell into the water, Gu Yiyi has encountered obstacles in school. No matter what she wants to do, Miss Xiao will do it, mix it in, and moreover, Ye was the only one who could kill Gu Yiyi instantly. Based on these things, they have been able to determine that the only hidden side of Ye is actually something she can control. Moreover, the things that irritated her were all related to Yezikin. Gu Yiyi was the first to find trouble. Even if Gu Yiyi ruined the video she had worked so hard to edit, she would not care. But this time, not only did she suppress Gu Yiyi everywhere, she also had no plans to stop until now. No one knows to what extent Ye Weiwei will take revenge on Gu Yiyi. But actually Yezikin doesn't care about these things. The only thing he cares about is, are her various behaviors harmful to her? Everyone has a sense of self-protection. Miss Xiao's dual personality is different from being good at pretending. If her emotions are alternately suppressed for a long time, it will be extremely harmful to her body and mind. People who are good at pretending are like so-called performers and can act. But the only duality of Ye is hidden in her body, and every time her emotions are intensified, it makes her nervous and nervous. I think it is easy for such people to have personality differentiation and become so-called nervous. End of this chapter.